what I want to say, just to you. Thank you for being here. Right? I mean, I really got used to be anyway. And thank you for being here and doing this show with us. It's all about promoting coaching in the world. And just want to acknowledge you as a coach. And from our last conversation, I really got like who you are out empowering people. And, you know, I just want to say, I love you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Like, this is what it's all about, right?
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks to you and your team for what you're doing to advance coaching in the world. It's so needed. It's so needed.
Totally.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks. And then, you know, past that, I'd love to start the interview with what is possible if everybody had a coach? Yeah. What do you see?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm a strengths-based coach. So being a Clifton StrengthsFinder certified coach, I see a world of possibilities. You know, helping people focus on what's right with them instead of what's wrong with them, because the conventional way to development says, let's focus on everything that you're not so great at, put a plan into place, and make you a more well-rounded individual, and then you'll have success. And I just don't agree with that. If you're familiar with Strengths Maximizer is my number one, so I definitely see the potential in all things, and that there's a lot of options when we are focused on what's right about us instead of getting caught up in what's wrong with us. That is where the magic happens. You know, your superhero powers come out, and you are able to accomplish and get the success that you want and get out of your own way. So, and I'll share more with you about, you know, my journey and what coaching's done for me to help me get out of my own way.
Yes, go.
Fabulous at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, gosh, where do I start? I mean, I guess I'll just share with you a little bit about how I came to coaching, because it's an interesting story. I mean, I was not the person that went to get certified as a coach I went to International Coach Academy. I didn't go there because I wanted to have my own business. And I was kind of the oddball amongst all of my peer group, because for the most part, they were going with the intention of, I want to be a coach. I want to, you know, have my own business, and I'm going to go out and do my own thing. That wasn't me. It was between 2010 and 2012. I went because I just wanted to be better at my job. You know, okay. I had a mentor who was a coach. She's like, Val, I think you really need to check this out. I had been working back and forth between business operations as a leader, managing my own team, my own P&L, you know, having to deal with the grind of what that can feel like, and juggling, how do I have harmony between work and life with all of this pressure? And then on the other side, spent lots of time in human resources and supporting people to be better leaders. And so as I was in this place of, okay, I'm becoming increasingly concerned with, you know, the trendy word we always hear of engagement, right? Which really just means, are you happy or satisfied in your job? So I was just becoming really, you know, focused on that. And I was really becoming increasingly concerned that, you know, the percentages of the people who are actively engaged in their jobs is, I mean, really the last report last year from Gallup is 66% are actively engaged or disengaged, or right? I know. Well, actively disengaged or disengaged is 66%. So really it's 34% that's engaged. But when I started realizing, like, gosh, what is this? Because when people are not happy in their careers, they're not good coworkers. You've all worked with that person, right? They're not good spouses, good parents, good friends. Not like you're spent, right? You don't have much more to give. So my passion really came around this, like, be better at my job, help figure out this engagement issue. And that just became my life mantra for the next several years. And I realized that the biggest contributor to people's engagement is their direct boss. And we all can attest to that. You've heard, I'm sure, the cliche statement of people leave their boss, not their company. So I just became, that was like the whole journey. I just wanted to be better at my job, and I wanted to help others. And it really genuinely saddened me that there were so many people I encountered in all of my career that were just not happy. So it wasn't until 2017 that I was on a plane. I was coming back from a 4-day trip. It was a long week. My husband's a pilot, and I pulled into Chicago O'Hare, and we pulled into the gate. It's a late Thursday night. I look out my airplane window, and no kidding, my husband's in the plane next to me, pushing back to go on a several-day trip. Wow. And it was in that moment that I said, you know, I've become that person. Like, this is the struggle, right? I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this. And so thankfully I had some time to detox, and that's how my business Agora was created. You know, that's where it was really birthed out of that place. And we have two focuses that we work with. We support those who are, it's all career, right? It's all career and leadership. So it all comes into that realm. Yeah. But it's either people who've made a decision, it's time for me to transition into something new. And I know what I want to do, and I just need help to navigate the job market. And that can start from the very basics of, resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, all of that stuff. Or people who, they just don't know what they want to do yet, and that's cool. Like, we're all wired to actually do a lot of things. And I think we should no longer ask what you want to be when you grow up. It's a bad question. It sets us up for failure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one subset of group of people that Agora supports. And then we also support people managers, that whole point about becoming the best version of yourself and creating more engaged environments, leaders who are just tapped out and not sure how to get the best results out of their team. So that's the two biggest areas where we focus on.
Oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah,
frankly,
it's fun.
I knew about the career stuff the last time we talked, but I did not know about your business engagement stuff. I mean, that's the story of my career, my life. Is literally, I mean, I'm telling. Oh, I can't tell you how many jobs I've had. Actually, I will, like 20 plus.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, it was just literally, I was always looking for my boss, the leader, the coach I was looking for, right? And just always, there was one guy I stuck with for 2.5 years because he was the most, and he was just the best example of what I wanted to be, but it still wasn't there for me, wasn't actually the coach that coaches are, right? And I mean, I can sum up my career, my professional career, as always looking for my perfect coach, right? Yeah. For what is going to be my purpose? Why should I just be in this rat race of making money for this entity that's out, destroying the world?
Right.
What are we doing here? So, thank you. Thank you for doing that work.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Yeah.
Awesome.
The best leaders are the best coaches, right? They're the best coaches. And I'm just such an advocate of, if you want to be a great leader, learn to be a great coach.
Oh man. So we could only use more of that. Okay. Thank you. Well, tell me about, either take all of them or give me an idea, when working with you, what's that like as an experience, either your methods, your mode. You shared a little bit about Strength Finders. Give us your philosophy around how it is you achieve the results and then share the results. What is that? What does that look like?
Yeah, great question. Actually, I really love this question. My team is in the process of collecting celebration and success stories right now from clients that I've been working with for the past couple of years. And it's just it's unbelievable. It's awesome to hear and to see their success. And they'll say I couldn't have done this without you, couldn't have done this without you. True, you couldn't do this without coaching, right? You needed some help to get out of your own way, but they did the hard work, right? So when they engage with me into a contract, it's really kind of a cool thing because I lead 2 different masterminds, 2 different group coaching experiences. And I'm such a believer in that community. We're better together. And as much as you don't want your struggle to be seen, the healing and the forward movement comes from it being seen and from owning that and from moving forward. It's I think about my own struggle. I shared some of that with you, Brian, but for me, it was early in my career where I came to a group coaching experience that I was thrust into with my organization. It wasn't something I signed up for, but I'm so thankful for that opportunity because it was in that moment of group coaching that I realized I'm getting in my own way. My own fears of success, my own fear of rejection, stemming way back to my early childhood years. All of those fears, if I let them get into, I did let them get into my head. I mean, I had the worst self-talk of anybody you've ever met. I was my own worst enemy. And I'm I would never talk to a friend or a loved one the way that I'm talking to myself. So it was through group coaching and then the subsequent follow-up of one-on-one coaching that I got out of my own way. And it's still that thing, right? I always got to monitor my self-talk. I have honed into the practices of rewiring my brain and creating a better, healthier thought life because it all starts there, right? Thoughts are connected to your heart goes out and does everything in your body. And so it starts here. So I say that because depending upon how we're working together, coach to client relationship, there is a lot of group coaching in that. And so, because I think there's just a lot of power that can come from that as a test of my story. Clifton Strengths is absolutely a part of that. But it always starts with, what are your goals? What do you want to get out of this experience? What would success look like for you in this engagement as we're working together? Because I could say it's all 5 of these things, but that might not be your goal, right? So for everybody, that looks a little different. So to give you an example, for some of my career coaching clients, what we're seeing on average is they have a goal of, I either want to find out what I want to do next, or I'm ready and I want to make the transition. So I track for them, how long does it take for them to land their next job? And the average of that is 6 to 8 weeks, which is amazing. And I also track, what does that look like? I'm huge on salary negotiation. You know, we just don't get paid what we're worth in corporate America. You're always going to try to be secure to get, do more with less. So I measure that. And on average, my clients are anywhere from, on average, $10,000 to $20,000 more per year is what they're making from their last salary. Right. So those are just some of the tangibles. From a leadership perspective, I mean, we measure that, and if your goal is to increase engagement, by all means, if you have a process internally to your organization to measure that, let's do that. But can we also look back to business results? Can we look at your P&L? Can we look at what is it that the outcomes you're trying to get in the next quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters? So those are the things where I help people dial into, here's what you should expect to see and how I can be a partner for them in that success.
Got that. Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's fun stuff, like, right? What a joy. What a joy to do this work. What an honor.
Absolutely. Gosh. So what you're speaking to is like, when corporations get that they have a process to make money, but that it's not to serve the customer. It's actually an institution for employees to come and get their life. Right. And
right.
I say, when we make that shift, all will be well. Right. So, or we'll just look for the next problem, as we do as humans.
Right. Well said. Well said. Yeah. But I mean, how much do we have to gain when you look at the engagement issue, right? And career satisfaction in general, when you look at that and know that people are, when they are engaged, business results are better, right? You just see yourself as a more holistic being, and you see, oh my gosh, just my mind goes crazy thinking about, if those numbers of engagement were higher, what that would look like and feel like for so many people in our world.
Spot on. And here's the other thing, I think, as a myth, it's that, well, if everybody's doing what they want, nobody would be doing the work, right? Like, no, right? Like, people have flow, there's things they're naturally good at, and they can do those things endlessly. And frankly, if they get to be self-expressed and free inside of their workplace, like, they just get a way to be, and they get to choose that. If that's the place, if that's all you're offering, you've got it. That's all you need, right? So I don't know. What do you say? What do you hear?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And it comes for me right back to Clifton Strengths. When I mean, Clifton Strengths literally, and I believe this, I've seen all the research, all the data. If you're a numbers person, we can always give that to you. Sure. But I see it so tangibly in, if you were born with a guide of how you are wired up here, right? And this is the guide. It shows you, there's a lot of assessments out there you can take. They're all good for their different reasons, but this is the one I start with to say, this is how you think, feel, and behave about the world. This is how you are innately wired for success. And we might look at those things and think they're super weird, right? Like, I'm just weird. Yeah, we're all unique. I mean, the chances of anybody having the same top 5 in the same order as you, 1 in 33 million. So you are a unique little snowflake, special little butterfly. So that is, yes. I mean, and when a leader gets that, when a company gets that, and when an individual gets that, and you're all speaking that same language, the workplace is so much better, because you can now communicate and set people up for success into what they're wired to do well. Right? Yeah. It rewrites the job descriptions, really. Job description can go away.
Yeah, totally. So I want to make media about that. I want reality TV show about you going into the company. Like, here's where we're at. Look at the 66% disengagement, right? Like, let's show the value such that everybody's like, duh, like, this is what we got to do, right? So
totally. Oh, Brian, that fires. Yeah.
you find the company's willing to like have that type of exposure, right? That's the sell.
Uh-huh.
I will build the team. I'll go get the money. And you be the usher, you bring it in. And honestly, I want to find like 5 or 6 coaches doing this in different realms, right? To bring it all together. But yes, totally. Let me know. Let's connect about that.
Totally. I love the idea. I mean, I binge watch The Profit. I don't know what it is about that show. I love that show. I'm like so into what Marcus Lemonis is doing. And I'm like, yeah, turn this business around. You know, I just live for that. Love it.
Totally. All right. Well, we're aligned there. So when when it happens, it'll happen. Just when, we don't know. We'll look for it. Tune in. Okay, cool. Let's see. Inside of my questions, important question. Where do we find you? How do we get a hold of you? You know, where is it that we should contact you or get in touch with you?
Yeah, everywhere most coaches are. So I have a website. It's agoracoach.com. I've got LinkedIn. It's my full name at Valeyne Grotian, Valeyne. Good luck spelling that and remembering that. We can get that for you. I'm on Facebook at Agora Coach and Instagram at Valeyne Grotian. So all of those places.
Awesome. All right. Anything else you want to add or put in or say, or, you know, what?
I think it can be summed up by saying anybody that's watching this, I would just want you to know you're worth it. You deserve success and you're worth it. And don't give up on yourself. And coaching can transform you. Give it a go.
Yeah. A world where everybody has a coach. I mean, it's often your dreams. You want your dreams to happen, you got to have partnership, right? Frankly, the thing I'm always espousing is that the best part about humans is teamwork, right? And, you know, when team comes together, like that's what real power is. It's like multiple minds lining up in a mission. And like, that's where all the awesome stuff happens. And then there's like team is, you know, partnership is just the base element of team. And then there's like, why not have a partner or a teammate for your life, like dedicated to your life?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's the argument.
Well,
everybody needs a coach.
Everybody needs a coach. Everybody wins when you have a coach, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wins. I have a coach. I'm a coach and I have a coach.
Of course.
Everybody wins, right?
So just, I'm announcing my presidential candidacy. It's basically that everybody gets a coach. That's my platform. What do I think about foreign policy? Everybody gets a coach. What do I think about?
That's awesome. I can see it on banners across the world. Everybody gets a coach.
That's it.
Hey, is this like Oprah? You get a coach, you get a coach, you get a coach.
Yes, exactly. We're bringing it home.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I guess anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to put in?
No, thanks for the time. It's been great connecting with you.
Absolutely. So again, thank you. I want you to be fully acknowledged for who you are. Coaches are the light in the world, and you are a beacon. Thank you for doing what you're doing. The mission is at hand, and thank you for being on the team. So other than that, cheers. God bless. Peace, love, and goodwill.
Likewise.
Cheers. All right. So that was awesome. Thank you, Val. That was so enjoyable.
Yep. You're welcome. I appreciate it so much. It's fun.
Well, I'll be in touch, especially if you find a company that would be open to that idea. Just know that I will go put together the team. I've basically got some other coaches that are out there like looking for that opportunity.
Awesome.
But yeah, totally down to put that together. So
yeah, how fun would that be? Woo!
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I mean, yeah, really, it would be awesome. It's good to know that like that's the space that you guys are in, and obviously you get the value of coaching, right? It's why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's much needed.
Totally. Meaningful. I'm curious, just what was the group coaching context you found, or what was
that? Yeah. Okay. So have you ever heard of increasing human effectiveness?
No, I haven't.
IHE. It's many companies provide IHE to their leaders in the organization, and I obviously wanted to go because I'm a lifelong learner, but I didn't realize it was going to be very much like, whoa, we're going to share and bear all of our stuff right in this moment. So yeah, that was the class, and it was a few days, and there were just a lot of group coaching that was facilitator led. within each group. So they were rather small groups. But I realized at that moment, like, man, wow, really powerful.
Totally.
And it's the questions too, the power questions. Like one of the questions that had come up in that time frame, it's a funny story. So the question was like, the format at the time was watch a video, hear the story of the facilitator, share, and then there's this group coaching experience that happens within the table groups. The question was, think of a time from your childhood that impacted the way that you think now about yourself. And I'm like, oh, everything's fine. I don't have anything. And like, now rewind back to day one. We were all asked to create our own name tent, typical, right? Like fold the paper in thirds, put your first and last name on it, whatever. Well, then the instructor, when she was explaining the exercise, she was like, and you can get really fancy with it. You can put these tabs on it. And I was like, no, just piece of paper folded in thirds with my first and last name is fine. We can move on now, right? But I kind of made a joke about it, and it didn't even occur to me until now this next day. We're asking this question about something that shaped you as a child. And I'm thinking, what am I going to say? Like, oh, wow, I'm not sure.
Can I insert a question?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but because I just didn't hear it. What was the time in your childhood that impacted how you think about?
Oh, yourself.
Yourself. Okay.
The world. Yep. It just influenced you in some significant way. And that now is impacting your human effectiveness.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so when it gets to me, I don't know, this came out of nowhere. I had not thought about this. I don't know, I was in my mid-20s at the time. This situation had happened in third grade. I had not thought about it in years, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was, I remember a teacher who should not have been teaching anymore. She should have retired long before. But I remember her seeing me fold the piece of paper that we were doing for an activity incorrectly. And she chastised me for it. She told me, Valeyne, if you can't figure out how to fold the paper correctly, you'll never be creative. So I started to associate that word, and it's terrible, right? Like those teachers should not.
What does folding the paper have to do with creativity?
Right? But she clearly should have been retired for a long time. And I don't play victim to that. It is what it is. But I realized it shaped my definition of creativity for years. It caused a lot of anxiety. I had a boss once that said, hey, Val, I've got a new role for you. I really want you to think about doing this role. It's going to require the level of creativity that you bring to everything. I went home and had a freaking panic attack. I'm like, creative? I'm not creative, right? So it started spiraling for me. And that's where I was like, I know I need a coach. This isn't just right. Like therapy is important to work on past issues for sure. But I think I was in that place of forward movement. Like I'm not going to play victim to this. I'm ready to move forward. And that's where coaching. So thanks for asking. It's a fun story of creativity. Who knew? Yeah.
No, it's actually.
And now I know I'm creative.
Exactly. I mean, it's just funny the ways human beings take things and what could be impactful nobody could say. And it's sometimes the slightest thing, but when the story starts, the story goes that way, and people live their whole lives by stories they made up as a 5-year-old, right? So, this is like what there is to break out of, and everybody's got to get about coaching, So
totally. And it starts in it's so important. We have to monitor the stories we're telling ourselves. Self-efficacy is everything.
Totally.
We're gonna have fears, right? But I've learned you can move forward and do it afraid, but you don't have to let it rule you. And I think that it starts in the mind. If you, what's the saying? If you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
Henry Ford.
Spot on. Yeah, exactly. Spot on. Yeah. You are the master of your domain. This is your domain. Right. This is all you get.
That's right. Treat it like a temple, not a tent.
Nice. Good. Well, I think that's all I got. Other than that, I just thank you for jiving with that. Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Yeah. Awesome, Val.